Hello there and welcome to this week's 10-day trend. We've had a mixed bag of weather over the last few days, some heavy rain, also some sunshine. And as we head towards spring, we have high pressure building, which means lots of dry and bright weather to come, but a few differences here and there. Let's start off then by taking a look at the bigger picture. So this starts off on Wednesday. We did have some heavy outbreaks of rain this morning. That was as a result of this frontal system. That's cleared its way nicely to the southeast now. High pressure out into the Atlantic beginning to build. This is the Azores high, which eventually stretches its way towards the country as we head towards the end of the week and into the weekend, mostly keeping any frontal systems at bay. But we do have a low pressure system just crossing towards Iceland, trying to drag its way in some frontal systems, and a slight squeeze in the isobars here too. So perhaps a slight difference across northwestern parts of the country, but largely high pressure dominating for the end of the week into the weekend. Before we get onto that though, let's take a look at Thursday. So a chilly start, some frost and also some fog in places. Also can't rule out a few showers, particularly around North Sea coasts. A fair few showers moving through here, and it could be a little bit breezy at times as they move through too. Also a few showers starting to move into parts of the northwest, but for the bulk of the country, as we see that high pressure build, it's going to be a largely fine day, lots of sunny spells and lots of dry weather too. Temperatures just about average for the time of year, highs of around 10, possibly 11 Celsius across the south, so feeling pleasant where you catch the sunshine. Then later into the evening, we'll see that high pressure build more and more. That's going to ease away any showers that we see overnight. Perhaps a fair few still across the far northwest, not really easing until the early hours of the morning. But with clear skies, light winds, that means temperatures are going to soon dip away. Likely to see quite a widespread frost as we reach Friday morning. Also some patchy fog, possibly even freezing fog, where we see those temperatures dip below zero. So quite a chilly start for the end of the week and the last day of winter. But through the course of the day, once again, that high pressure still clinging on across the country. So there's going to be plenty of sunshine around, plenty of dry weather. Still a chance we could see a few showers across the northwest, but you'll probably be quite unlucky if you catch any of those, mostly confined to the coast. Now, for the beginning of the weekend, still high pressure largely dominating, yes. The jet stream to the north of the country, which really allows that high pressure to build as we head towards the weekend. But you notice there's still just this cold front trying to drag its way through that high pressure as we go into Saturday. And that just means that there will still be a little bit of cloud, some light outbreaks of rain and drizzle steadily pushing their way southeastwards across the country. So perhaps a bit more cloud around on Saturday compared to Thursday and Friday. A little bit wet at times, particularly across northern parts of Wales, northern England, but elsewhere across central and southern parts of the UK, it should be mostly dry. Hazy sunshine as we see a build of high cloud. And yes, there's still one or two showers feeding into the far north of Scotland, but it's going to be largely bright across Northern Ireland, parts of Scotland too. So still lots of sunshine around. And temperatures remaining around the same, highs of 10, possibly 11 Celsius if we see that sunshine stick around. Then through into Sunday, we can see this band of cloud here. That's just the remnants of that frontal system once again. Most of the rain generally fizzling out, and that cloud should break up nicely as we head into the afternoon, allowing a few more sunny spells. More hazy sunshine starting to clip into the northwest this time, just as this next frontal system tries to edge its way in. But once again, a dry and bright second half to the weekend, highs of around 10 to 11 Celsius too. Now, this next frontal system across the northwest, once again, it does try to push its way southeastwards across the country, fairly slow moving and a fairly weak feature too as it tries to do so. We can also see once again a good squeeze in the isobars to the northwest of the country, and that just means it's going to be turning a little bit wet and windy for parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland as we head into Monday, but still once again pushing up against that high pressure, so it doesn't really move very far and it doesn't really bring much weather as it moves southeastwards, largely just some cloud. However, that cloud is going to be really dependent on the conditions we see over the coming days as we move forward, because we see those cloudier skies, that's going to stop any fog and frost formation. So we need to take a look at whereabouts that frontal system is going to sit. So here we have a spaghetti plot, and what we basically do is run our European model, this one is, we run it a few times over, slightly changing the initial conditions of the weather. And this shows us just about whereabouts the frontal system could possibly sit. So if the lines are quite close together, that's quite good confidence of where the frontal system is going to sit. But if they're quite spread apart, that means there's a good spread in the model data and whereabouts that frontal system could sit. So this is for midnight on Monday, and you can see most of our models largely showing it to the north northwest of the country. So that's likely where that frontal system is going to sit. But as we move our way into Tuesday, we can see there's actually quite a few different locations whereabouts that frontal system could sit. And as I've already mentioned, as it moves its way southeastwards, it's probably going to be quite a weakening feature, so more a band of cloud. But that means that's where we're unlikely to see any fog or frost form. But just bringing you back to Friday and over the weekend, it's likely we could see some quite foggy mornings, particularly on Friday. Taking a look at our global model, the kind of probability of visibility less than 1,000 metres, so where there's a good indication we could see fog. So Friday morning we could see Northern Ireland, western parts of Scotland, northwestern England, parts of Wales, Devon and Cornwall, perhaps even central areas could see some foggy conditions. And on Saturday it looks like more of the fog confined across parts of the southeast. As we head through Sunday and into Monday, once again a good indication that we could see quite a bit of fog, perhaps not so much on Monday at first glance, but this is just more where we've got slight uncertainty as to whereabouts that band of cloud is going to sit. So that means whereabouts the clear skies are going to be and whereabouts the fog could potentially move through as we head into the morning. So by first glance, yes, it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of fog on Monday, but it's not to be taken for gospel, and it's a good chance that anywhere we see any clear skies that we could see some fog during the morning. Now, also, it really depends whereabouts that cloud sits, and that's going to have an impact on temperatures. So it's likely we'll see some clouds, some outbreaks of rain across the northwest. So that's where we're not going to see temperatures dip away as much. These are temperature anomalies compared to average. So across the northwest, these slightly redder colours, which means they're going to be, these are overnight minimum temperatures, slightly above average for the time of year. So it's not going to get quite as chilly across the far northwest, but a slight hint of some blues across parts of Wales, parts of the southwest on Thursday night, perhaps a little bit more widespread on Friday night, where we are expecting quite a widespread frost under those clearer skies. And it's fairly similar on Saturday and Sunday, but on Saturday night you can see once again obviously indicating whereabouts this cloud could sit, where temperatures aren't going to dip quite as low. So perhaps a bit more frost across southern areas, parts of Northern Ireland, Northern England. As we head through into Sunday night, more confined to the south and southeast. But as I've already mentioned, it will really depend on whereabouts that cloud is going to sit. But nevertheless, over the weekend and into the weekend, a chance of frost and also some fog as we head through the early hours of the morning. So into next week, there is actually going to be lots of settled weather around, some frost and fog during the morning, but it's a good chance that we could see most of the wet and windy weather confined to the northwest at times next week. And as those frontal systems move into that high pressure, there is a good chance that we could see some cloud at times, but very little rain on the cards. And now what about temperatures? Well, temperatures widely look like they're going to be above average as we head into the next couple of weeks. This red line here kind of indicates the average temperature as we go into the next couple of weeks. And these kind of box and whisker plots, they're called, this kind of shows the spread of temperatures as we head into the middle part of March. So we can see, particularly at the beginning, we can see the most spread of temperatures is widely above this red line, so widely above average. And then even as we head in towards the beginning of March, a slightly bigger spread, yes, as we see these slightly bigger boxes, but still widely above that red line. And these are minimum temperatures, so once again this red line slightly below the other one, showing kind of average minimum temperatures. We see that slight cold dip where we're expecting that frosty weather as we head into Friday, but still, even so, as we head towards March, most of those boxes widely above the line, so widely above average, so some mild nights on their way. And it's similar across southern areas too, most of the boxes, if not around the line, just above the line, so some mild temperatures by day and also by night. But it is likely that they could dip away for the beginning of the period, particularly under those clear spells. Now, how warm exactly is it going to get? Well, there's a good indication as we head towards next week that we could actually see some pretty mild temperatures for the time of year. This is the probability of seeing 15 degrees or more from our European model. So for the beginning of the week, there's not much indication of any kind of colours, perhaps a slight green tinge across parts of the southeast as we head into Tuesday. But it's really as we move through the week, as we head towards Friday, that there is actually quite a good indication across parts of the south and southeast that potentially we could just about reach 15 degrees, which is a good 5 degrees above average for the time of year. And with the dry, settled conditions, it's likely that it's going to feel rather pleasant where you do catch the sunshine. But that's still a few days away, so there's still a good chance it could change. But on the whole, largely settled. But is there any indication that we could see a change? Well, taking a look at the probability stacked plot of the kind of low pressure or high pressure that we can expect, we can see at the beginning of the period period, mostly these yellow colours dominating. This indicates the Azores high, so the conditions we're seeing towards the end of this week. So high pressure largely dominating, largely settled. And then as we head towards the middle part of March, more of these blue colours, and that indicates low pressure dominating, so some slightly unsettled conditions, so some wet and windy weather, perhaps this time not quite just confined to the far northwest. And we can also see this taking a look at our pressure pattern over the next couple of weeks. So starting off the period, largely red colours, high pressure, settled conditions, and then a change to more of the blue colours towards the middle part of March, so low pressure, unsettled conditions. But what we can see is up here we have the most recent model runs, and as we head further down, these are later model runs. And what we can see is a slight diagonal direction of these bluer colours. So that just means that any kind of low pressure dominating with newer model runs is actually being pushed a bit further out, so a bit further into March rather than the beginning. So it's a good indication that actually that high pressure is going to stick around, and we're not really going to see anything more unsettled until kind of the beginning or middle part of March. So high pressure, yes, lots of dry and settled conditions, but a good chance we could see some fog and frost in the morning, perhaps a little bit wet and windy weather confined to the northwest too. That's it from me. Bye-bye.